1 minute past 11, just Paul with you, Community Service, the show. I'm joined live in the studio, Mr. Joe Gillespie. How you doing, Joe?
Great, Paul.
There you are. I can hear you. Make sure I can hear you better. All right.
Very good.
So I asked you to come on today and talk with us because I was at the last city council meeting, and heard a presentation you gave about a proposal for an addition to the master plan for Beachfront Park, something not on their poster that they walk around with all the time and show everything that's going to be there. Brand new. Something I had never heard of before you, a pump track. Tell everybody what that is, because I didn't know.
Yeah, okay. So I didn't know either until I actually went to a wedding up in Oregon, and there was a pump track at the venue, just a hand-built one, and the kids could not stop riding this thing. And they were so excited about it, and they would just come pedaling up for water or some food, and then just say, bye, see you later, and ride back to the pump track, and literally be out there until it got dark. And so I investigated a little bit about these and found out that some of our neighboring communities were building them, and that they were a big attraction for mountain bike riders, a big attraction for kids. And I say that because I was a teacher for 32 years, and I really feel that kids need to be more active outdoors in their private life after school, on weekends, and that a pump track was a way to get kids involved, and really thought about locations a lot, considered the fairgrounds, and Beachfront Park seems like a natural, and there's a spot for it, but I still haven't said what they are. It's basically a series of rolling hills that are the right height and distance, so that you don't have to pedal. You actually pump and can gain inertia, gain speed, and then you hit a bank turn and another series of hills, another bank turn. And
so the trick with the pumping is you don't do a full revolution on a pedal. You just kind of like a half or a quarter sort of.
You don't even have to do that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could be on just fixed pedals and you just pump, with your body, like you pump on a swing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
and
neat.
So, I went over and visited the one in Redding, and I got out on the track, and it's a little unnatural at first. It takes a while to get it, like anything else. But once you do, it's really pretty neat. And then you see people that can drop in, which you kind of drop into this track, and some people can gain quite a bit of speed, and you have to be able to hit that bank turn, and I was going up over it and doing all kinds of things wrong. Kids just take right to it, though. Yeah, it's really a neat thing. So
now where is it in the park that you envision placing the pump track?
Yeah, so the pump track would the only real space available that's not planned out, as I understand it, is a space to the west of the dog park.
Right.
And which is kind of where there used to be like what they called a BMX track,
where they had the hills out there, the little mogul sort of things. Yeah.
And it wasn't real well designed, and
it's the leftovers from the old Longer Jamboree site, right?
Exactly, exactly. And so with all of our rain, though, the pump tracks generally are paved, and it can be regular asphalt, or there are some other surfaces that are more permeable, but also will hold up to the rain, and that's pretty important. Otherwise, kids will and adults will be riding these when they're wet, and then you've got to rebuild them all the time. So raising enough money to make it all work is important. I want to add, though, that the pump tracks generally are fairly small, but you can, depending on how much people want to create something, of course, you can always add on to it and make it larger. But in addition to the actual pump track, you would build some trails and other types of jumps where kids can gain some speed and do a few jumps. Over in Redding, I showed the city council some tabletop jumps that you can just roll over the top of if you don't want to jump, or you can, practice your jumping ability.
Or you can treat that front side as a ramp sort of deal, right? And get up there. That's interesting. Wow.
So,
are you concerned? Well, I was watching the presentation, and I'm sitting there in the chambers, and I'm going, how does the city do something like this from an insurance point of view? How do you, I mean, because the way everybody gets all skittish about, kids getting out and hurting themselves.
Yeah.
But, here you are, it's almost like you're asking for kids to sort of push the envelope.
Oh, yeah, but this isn't the kind of place where, any real serious accidents. Yeah, somebody could,
Sure,
fall over and break an arm.
Just like your bathroom.
They're going to do that
on
your park anyway. So for the city, it's a natural, because they already have an insurance policy for that kind of thing.
That's true.
So you're just adding one more thing that's not a real serious injury.
Yeah.
And that can happen anywhere, anytime.
And that would seem to, I don't know. That was. I was afraid that people get kind of litigious about something like this, or a little overprotective of.
Yeah, that's we've got to try to deal with that, but eliminate it from our consciousness.
That's true too.
We can't protect everyone from things happening to them, and it's really important to me that we don't.
Well, yeah.
So I look at this Pumptrack bike park as something where kids and families, can go and ride together. And believe me, adults need to get out and ride just as much as kids do.
Yeah.
And I could really speak to that one. But, a lot of adults think that, bicycles are things for kids.
Oh, huh.
And, I feel more like a kid when I'm on a bike. There's no question about it. But that's part of the joy of cycling.
That's one thing that's never changed from being a little boy and getting on a bike right now to getting on my bike, or getting on my bike today and getting on riding. It's still cool.
It feels good. You want to get a taste for what all these people like about riding a Harley all over the country. Ride a bicycle. You're out in the open air.
It's not as loud. Yeah.
Right. But a greater vision for this bike park, if you think about it. So you create this space over there where there's a pump track and there's some trails to ride and some jumps and also some other little structures where 2 and 3 year olds on their little what are those pedalless bikes? I forget what they're called, but anyway, they can be out there experiencing this as well. And I've seen 2 and 3 year olds riding the pump track over in Reading.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
So you got this whole family thing going on. There's always an adult there watching those young ones. But imagine that kids can ride all over Beachfront Park. There's roads. You could even create a few trails, for example, off of Howe Drive, that slope down to the green area.
Right.
You could have an undulating, up and down trail along that.
Yeah.
That kids could be riding their bikes on. Also, the fact that there is a bike trail that goes all the way around to Anchor Way. You open that whole area up. So imagine families going out. How about even this? You go out to dinner, but you take your bikes.
Yeah.
And you go riding after dinner and watch the sunset or something.
The lighthouse and the harbor and
even really get out there and take the bike route all the way out to Point St. George or something.
Wow. Oh my God. That's a beautiful idea. And after, hearing your presentation and talking about, the joys of biking, it's strange that Beachfront Park, the whole revisioning of Beachfront Park, didn't include more of a bike component.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
But it's not too late.
No.
And easily done, actually. And wow, I would love to see families out there together riding bicycles. Or imagine knowing that your kid can take a safe route to Beachfront Park.
Yeah.
Because our city has these or is developing these. And then have a place to ride safely all the way to South Beach, where you can let the kids be kids without the adults. And that kind of play is really important too. And I will also say that, play, teenagers can get out there and play. You will see people come from out of the area. If they know there's a pump track here at all, when they come through Crescent City, they're going to stop and ride it. because pump tracks are fun.
See, and that's now every pump track I encounter, I will notice.
Yeah,
because I didn't even know this was a thing. This sounds awesome. I wish they'd had them when I was a kid. That's great. We just would have to, find dirt hills and things around to ride around.
Absolutely.
So, paying for this, any idea about cost? About the whole vision for Beachfront Park, of course, is happening kind of off the city books. They're going, we're going to raise money. Citizens raised money for the dog park and got that happening. I mean, how do you see this being paid for?
That's what it's going to take. It's going to take widespread community support. Various groups will have to pull together and do fundraisers and raise money. The folks that the Reading Trail Alliance in Reading, they pulled together a lot of expertise and volunteer labor to build theirs. So they built theirs for under $30,000.
Wow.
I have friends in Weaverville that have already raised $167,000 in about 6 months for their bike park that's going to be a part of their city park. And they're very excited about this. And it's been a great community effort. The Lions Club has kicked in. I think, I'm not sure which other club, but another service club, I was told, each donated $7,000 or $8,000 or $10,000. One family chipped in $7,000. And so this really is something that I think the community could rally behind. And I think should, because how do we build a healthy community if we're not getting people active? If we're not, enabling kids more to be active. And I want to say this also, outside of our typical sports programs, they're not geared for everyone. And those programs are part of a big pyramid where as the kids get older, the number of kids that are serviced by those programs drops way off until, by the time they're seniors in high school, there's 100 or 200 kids that are involved, and the rest of them, what are they doing?
Exactly.
So we need to point our community towards helping kids create some activities that they can do their whole life.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, something that can be ongoing, can be a way of life, can be folded into a way of life like that.
Right.
That's beautiful. That's a great thing.
And, I'd also like to see us develop more mountain bike trails around here. So, our Trail Alliance, we have 3 main goals. A bike park in Crescent City, new mountain bike trails, additional mountain bike trails on our public lands primarily, and then in order to help make those trails happen, we realized that we needed to get out there and help the agencies maintain trails. That we're not going to get any new trails if we can't show that there's a volunteer organization that could get out and help them maintain them.
Wow, good point.
Yeah, and that's been really interesting and a lot of fun.
So, let's talk about it's the Del Norte Trail Alliance. What have you guys, how long have you been around?
Just since January, when we started our first monthly event. We do a trail work party, we call them, every month. And we've just bought some tools and brought our own tools and get out there mainly with loppers and cut brush, because a lot of our trails on the National Forest need some brushing. So that's been fun, gathering volunteers, which I have found really interesting. It's difficult because people are busy in this world we live in, and it's hard to find the time to get out and volunteer, even if you want to.
All right, well, I will make this promise to you, because I get the Facebook, the event sort of announcements, and I'm one of those guys who goes, "That's great, I love this, I want to back this, that's my day off." And so I promise you, at least one time before the rains come back, I'll get out and get on a trail.
I was thinking about this volunteering as I was out running the Myrtle Creek Trail on the way here this morning, and imagine if people that never volunteer decided that they wanted to volunteer for anything, not necessarily what we're doing, but for anything twice a year. Wow, what would that do for our community?
That would be a lot of involvement. That would be a big spike in community involvement for folks, I think.
It truly would. Yeah. And so anyway, I know that there's a lot of people out there that, because they've told me, like you, oh, that looks fun. I want to come out and do that. Gosh, I haven't been able to do it so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's why we just do it. We keep doing it every month, and we will continue to do so.
Okay, well, keep sending me the
okay.
the Facebook announcements.
Right.
So you've been working on the Myrtle Creek Trail. What other trails?
No, we haven't worked on Myrtle Creek.
I thought you were. I thought those were the announcements. Craig's Creek.
Craig's Creek was the first trail we bit off.
Yes.
Main reason is in this trail study I had done while on the Resource Advisory Committee to the Forest Service. Mm-hmm. There were 5 trails, and what I think is the best trail would be an extension of the Craig's Creek Trail, which would make, it goes up the South Fork of the Smith River a couple of miles, and take that trail up Craig's Creek, and then gain the ridge with a winding trail up to the very top where you'd have a view looking at Hyuchi and up the South Fork and back up the Middle Fork towards Gillespie, and then drop down towards the Middle Fork. You would end up about 2 miles upstream from the forks and hit the old highway, the old stage road, and get you back to the Forks boat launch parking area. So it would be about a 6-mile loop. And
where's the old highway?
There is an old highway bed. Most people don't know about it. You can get on it right from Slant Bridge.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, you just have to work your way through the brush. There's sort of a path, but the Forest Service was interested in opening that as a trail all the way to Gillespie, but could not get a right-of-way permission from a landowner up there, and kind of dropped the idea. So this would utilize that idea, and it's neat out there. There's redwoods, and so it's a place, Craig's Creek Trail as well has large redwoods on it, and a lot of people want to walk the redwoods, but they want to take their dogs. You can take your dogs on National Forest trails.
Okay, cool. Wow, right on. I know that's a big deal up in
Yeah. So we've also worked on the Kelsey Trail. The Kelsey Trail is our, the old historic trail that they used to bring gold from Fort Jones in Siskiyou County all the way to Crescent City in order to get it to San Francisco.
Oh, yeah. That was get it to a boat?
That was the fastest route.
Wow.
And so that trail was built in the 1850s. And it still exists. In the 30s, some new sections of trail were added to it there were private land issues on some of that old trail, as it turns out, and logging and such. But we have one of the most beautiful trails in North America, the Kelsey Trail, and it has been in need of a lot of work.
Where can you pick up the Kelsey Trail?
Well, there are several places now, because that was another project of our Resource Advisory Committee, RAC, where we opened up some old sections. So there's what is called now the Old South Kelsey, which is about 8.5 miles up South Fork Road, and there is a sign and a little parking area there. There's about a mile of trail there. It comes back up to South Fork Road, and then you have to drive over a landslide area, and you can take another section of it, which is about a mile, and it drops down both of them drop down to the river. But there was a stream crossing, and you end up going up Canthook Creek and taking the old Kelsey all the way up to Hurdy-Gurdy Creek.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that is all. So those are a couple of places, and then the place that most people know is to drive 3.5 miles up the Go Road, Gillespie Orleans Road, and take a left-hand turn. There's a sign there, South Kelsey Trail, and that's the amazing section of trail that I first walked in Boy Scouts when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Although we started from way up the Go Road and did our 50-miler and ended up there. But that hike and Boy Scouts had an amazing influence on my life. No question about it.
Really? Yeah. Wow, that makes sense, though. Up there.
A trail. And so I'm into trails.
You're into trails? Right? I hadn't picked that up yet.
Yeah, I'm into trails. I love trails. I've hiked them my whole life. I'm a backpacker. Last year, I'm proud to say I did the John Muir Trail, 200 miles on the
I was just
PCT.
talking about that a couple of days ago. That's kind of always been a dream in the back of my head to do that. So the whole way, which way did you go, north or south?
I went from Mount Whitney, so I went north. Most people are going south. So you end up seeing a lot of people out there. You see over 100 people a day just coming that direction, more like 120 or so.
For the length of the trail? That busy? I'll be damned.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of people that want to do this. It's very popular, but that is one of the prettiest trails in the world.
Did you have to send yourself provisions and bishop and all of that stuff? Yeah. Wow. Oh my God, that's great.
It was pretty fun. It's a great experience.
And did you do it alone? Did you hike it with somebody?
No, I went with a couple of friends.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
So anyway. Trails are...
That's a whole other conversation.
Trails
it
is. Yeah, we could just talk that. Trails take us to beautiful places, and we kind of take them for granted, like we do our other transportation systems, Yeah. We want people to patch the roads for us, and we expect the trails to be maintained. And let me just say this. One of the things I've learned is that wherever there are a lot of public lands, there are volunteer trail groups that are helping the agencies maintain them, and they've been doing this for decades. I went up to a crosscut saw training in Mackenzie Bridge, Oregon, and there were groups that had been together for over 30 years that are helping the Forest Service maintain their trails. Yeah. And
people like yourself are passionate about that, and unfortunately part of our infrastructure that needs more than, say, having the roads fixed. That needs ordinary people's involvement.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, look, I would love it if our government agencies were not squeezed so much that they can't do their jobs, which most of them are. And the agencies don't feel great about it. They're looking for partnerships. And I will say that we have a new district ranger up in Gillespie, and he is so happy that we exist and so supportive.
Oh, great.
And he wants to figure out how he can support us even more going forward. But hey, the last district ranger was supportive as well. So they're excited to see volunteers. And I'll tell you, we can sit around and complain about how things are managed by our agencies, or we can get involved and help them.
That's true. That's the participatory democracy. That's how it works, right?
That is.
So for the Trail Alliance, what's next? You still have more work to do with the Craigs Trail, the Craigs Creek Trail?
Yeah, we will do a few more projects up there. There's a little section of brush that we didn't get to. There's also I want to build a little crib wall, and that'll be a fun day where we go out and just build this little wall and backfill it where a tree had uprooted.
Okay.
There are some things that I think we can do every year on that trail to improve it. And our next trail work party will be the 22nd of September, a Saturday from 10 to 3. You can come and work as long as you want. We'll have loppers for you and gloves, or you can bring your own. But we're mainly brushing, although there's other work that needs to be done on that, some tread work, we call it, building some water bars and improving the tread in places where it's eroded. I still want to try to reschedule a spike camp, we call that. It's kind of like camping out and working up on the Kelsey Trail. We had to cancel last month because of fire, because of smoke.
Okay, yeah.
Because of smoke.
Yeah.
And wow, that was hard to do.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's tough to face.
Well,
what sort of work are you doing on the Kelsey Trail? Then same thing?
Well, we're actually, yes, the same thing. A lot of brushing, a lot of poison oak removal. But there are logs across the trail. We started logging that out with the Siskiyou Mountain Club was actually hired to go in and do some of that trail work last year. I went in with them, got a little bit of crosscut saw experience, got the training. Now the Forest Service has provided us with a crosscut, so we're actually going into the wilderness and sawing logs out of the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like hand saw?
Yes,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Which is serious business.
Yeah.
one of the things I learned was be prepared to walk away from a set of logs that you don't have the expertise to do.
You just like, okay, this is more than I can.
Yeah, the very first set of 2 logs that were across the trail, we walked away from.
Wow.
Which was a good decision. And maybe we can get Siskiyou Mountain Club in there to remove those.
Just concerned about like doing it wrong, at rolling, somebody getting hurt, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, logs that are hung up in the air and they have bind to them. Yeah, and they're big. The actual saw we had is a brand new saw, and it's a falling saw. You need a bucking saw.
Okay.
And the older saws have stronger metal. They're better saws. And so...
That's interesting. I've heard the same about axes, too.
Yeah.
Really? Seriously? That's
better metal. It's you talk to people, steel isn't what it used to be.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's weird. Wow, okay, sorry.
So the crosscut saw experience is pretty interesting. But, we did a spike camp earlier in June with the Bigfoot Trail Alliance, and we had 9 people out, and we managed to get a few logs out of the way with the crosscuts. But then we did some tread work and a lot of brushing. We hiked all the way up to Baldy Peak one day, 10-mile hike, 10-mile hike and 4,500 foot elevation gain.
Wow.
And working the whole way up.
Oh my God.
And then trying to get down before dark.
In one day?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I can come up and play with you guys, man, because wow.
It's that was a rigorous day.
That sounds
but
like
there was a stretch of trail up there that was entirely brushed in. Last year's fire burned right through it, but it only burned off the leaves. The brush was still there.
Oh, wow.
It had to be cut out of the way, and we were pretty committed to doing that. There's a lot of burn up there. Over 30,000 acres of the Siskiyou Wilderness burned just on the Del Norte side. And I don't know how many thousand acres on the Siskiyou side last year. But that's going to create a situation where trees are going to be falling across that trail for years to come. And this is what caused, the Biscuit Fire caused the Siskiyou Mountain Club to be generated to clear the trails through the Kalmiopsis Wilderness that the Forest Service said, no, we're not going to clear them. We don't have a trail crew.
Wow.
And so some volunteers got together, and they're an amazing group now that get in college interns, and they provide them with jobs during the summers.
Wow, that's great. How many people come up when you're doing alliance business? How many folks show up for your work parties?
Anywhere from 2 to 7. I think we had one time.
Okay.
So
you guys have meetings or anything down here, or it's all up in the forest?
We have a board, and we have a monthly board meetings.
So you do the whole nonprofit dance and all of that, or is it just a informal thing?
We are doing that.
Okay,
and so actually, I'm part of this collaborative. That's another organization that helps the Forest Service develop projects with stakeholder input. And I got the go-ahead to raise money. They decided, they'll support a bike trail project. So I went out on and created a GoFundMe project and raised about $10,000. And so our group has some operating capital.
Nice. Good.
But that's going to go towards new bike trails and the bike park. And, we have some seed money to start raising more money. And that donation was mainly from friends and family online, but I put a lot of effort into it to help make that happen. But we need to start raising lots of money.
And even
do any of this
GoFundMe stuff. if you raise $10,000, that's an exceptional feat right there. So congratulations. That's good.
Thank you. And and if we did a wider GoFundMe, where the community knows that it's 100% of that is going to a bike park, it is surprising what a community can do. So we need an effort like the whole Kid Town thing where people contribute money, people contribute labor, machinery, maybe even design work.
So this isn't, I mean, you're not envisioning just raising the money, going to some pump track company and saying, put a pump track in. I mean, this is a hands-on community thing, just like Kidtown was, right?
It could be.
Okay, yeah.
So you can go either route.
Yeah.
There are preformed, prefabricated sections that you could put in and create a pump track. But something more organic, where we bring in the soil and ultimately pave it, would be the way to go. I think that we have people in this community that have the equipment, maybe could, help hauling the right material to pack solid. The expertise is here to do that. And there are books out there about pump track design. So yes, there's the potential for us to do our own design and not pay tens of thousands of dollars for a design. But then some people, maybe the liability thing, maybe the city is, better off with a well-designed and mapped bike park. So we'll see.
Yeah.
A lot of it will depend on city manager and the city council and what they want to do.
And so what sort of feedback did you get from the city council?
Very positive. One thing that was apparent was some of the city council members had gone online and looked up pump tracks, which I encourage people to do.
Yes.
I mean, some communities create side-by-side identical pump tracks and race.
Oh, wow.
And time themselves. Awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of information out there on the web that I haven't completely explored, but you'll get a good idea of what one is if you just Google it.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, until you got up and started talking to the city council, that I had no idea what this was. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, so somebody wants to help out, whether they want to help out with the Trail Alliance or specifically with the Pump Track initiative. What do they do? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. You can get a hold of us at Del Norte Trail Alliance at gmail.com. That would probably be the easiest way.
You're on Facebook as well. You've got a page,
We are
right?
on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We don't have a website yet, and if someone wants to help us design one, that'd be a great thing. So yeah, that's probably the best way without giving out a phone number.
No, that's
that.
Yeah. Get on the list. Get the notifications for the events. Get the thing.
Yes.
So specific next step then for the pump track efforts.
Well, it's really with getting with Eric Weir, the city manager, and I haven't done that yet. I need to go see Eric, and he's excited about it.
That's cool.
And I think, exploring what the whole concept is with him and how and getting then the city council needs to say, yes, we want this. Let's start raising money.
Yeah, and again, you're not asking for money from the city council. You're just asking for, okay, let's go.
Let's make it happen. And our Del Norte Trail Alliance, we are going to put on a fundraiser at Porta Pints sometime in the next 2 months.
Excellent. Well, we like to, of course, Porta Pints is an underwriter, and we like to support everything they do out there. So
they're
we'll
wonderful.
Be sure to get the word out. Yeah, and involved in the community.
It's amazing. They just sent $3,000 over to Reading.
Yeah, right? Out of the community.
Yeah.
Raised it here and sent it away because they care. Yeah. Rick and Carol and Jeff are great. They're great people. Yeah. Last thing, at least for me, and then I'll ask you if there's anything that you have for last things. But recommend a bike trail for me.
The Paradise Little Bald Hills Trail is amazing.
Is the back into Howland Hill? Is that where you go up that way?
No, this one you go up the South Fork to 7.5 miles to the.
You're not sending me up Rattlesnake Mountain, are you?
No.
I busted
so this is a rigorous 10-mile ride.
Okay.
But it's amazing for a couple of reasons. The first, switchback on the Paradise Trail is a little tough.
Okay.
I walk parts of it, but then you get to the Little Bald Hills Trail, which is an old road grade. But there's a lot of changes in the forest. You get into a draw, and it's all lush vegetation. You go out around a ridge, and it's more sparse knob cone pine and
get that high chaparral feel.
And then you get there's a Darlingtonia bog, and the flowers up there in the spring are just amazing. You eventually get to the Bald Hills, which are grassy and covered with pine trees, and then you drop down into the redwoods and rhododendrons galore. It is really a remarkable trail.
Oh, wow.
Botanists go walk it just to see all the lilies up there in the summer, and to find all kinds of wildflowers. I was out on the trail a couple of weeks ago just doing some trail work with a volunteer who happened to be a botanist with the Forest Service, and he found a rare plant.
Oh, wow.
Which was uncovered because we had done a bunch of brush lopping there.
Oh,
and that's
nice.
the only reason he was able to see it.
And where's it come out?
It comes out down near Stout Grove.
Okay. Is that the back end that I know
That's
then? Is
the
that the
back
one
end
by Douglas Park or whatever up there?
Yes.
It comes out at the end of the Howland Hill
Yes.
Road? Okay, all right. That's the other end I know. So you go in South Fork and come out
Yes.
there. Okay, good. Cool.
Yeah, it's a remarkable trail. That's a rigorous day, but you don't have to, you can walk parts of it.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
stop and take in the view, and you don't have to make it this giant push, which some people do.
Yeah.
They
No,
race over it.
I've gotten to the age now where it's like, no, I don't have anything to prove. I want to enjoy myself when I go out and do something
Right.
like that.
I encourage people to get out and hike or bike the Craigs Creek Trail, although biking the Craigs Creek Trail is rigorous. There's roots and things in the way, and some narrow sections of trails.
And where can folks find get the trailhead there?
Yeah, that's right at Second Bridge.
Yeah.
And so you can park at the boat launch facility and then walk over to the bridge, and it's beautiful up there. It's just really a special place. There's a swimming hole at the end of it, if you want to walk all 3.5 miles out.
That's perfect.
To it. Yeah, it is. So.
Wow. Well, anything that you wanted to say that we didn't cover that you want to get out?
Just that, with people's support, we can make this community greater than it is.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we're doing. We want to create more bikeable places for people, more trails for people, keep our trails in good shape, help the agencies do that. And, physical activity, getting out and being part of our incredible county. I mean, this is the most remarkable place in the western United States.
Yeah.
And right here.
Yeah.
And
Not on paper.
So
it's reality.
I just
right?
encourage people to get out on the trails.
That's and I think that's there's a lot of lip service paid to the wonders of Del Norte County, and rightly so, because there's so many. But it's nice to meet and to talk to somebody who's actually making it possible for folks to get out there and enjoy those wonders, and to sort of own a stewardship of it as well.
Yes. Yeah, it feels good to go out and be part of making the trails better, and so you'll feel good too when you come volunteer with us.
All right, I'll do it. All right, Joe, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you, Paul.
we will do everything we can in our lowly community radio powers to maintain, keep people informed on what's happening with the Trail Alliance and with the Pump Park and all this stuff
great.
going. That's fantastic. Thanks a lot.